Malaysia ranked 10th as one of the world's most peaceful countries. More than 100 countries gathered to set path of peace between Ukraine and Russia. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. Happy Father's Day to fathers everywhere. I'm Jessica Lee and this is World Today. Now, Malaysia has climbed 9 spots in the 2024 Global Peace Index, or the GPI, now ranking 10th as one of the world's most peaceful countries this year. Now, according to the Institute for Economics and Peace, or the EP's 2024 GPI, global peacefulness declined by 0.56% this year, marking the 5th consecutive year of deterioration. In comparison to neighbouring countries, Singapore ranked 5th globally in peace, followed by Indonesia 48, Laos 49, Cambodia 70 and Thailand 75. The report highlights Malaysia's position in the top 5 for peacefulness in ongoing conflicts and ranks it 3rd in militarization. In addition, the Asia-Pacific region saw a minor decrease in peacefulness by 0.1% in the 2024 GPI, maintaining its status as the world's 2nd most peaceful region since 2017. Malaysia also ranked as the 3rd most peaceful country in the Asia-Pacific region, with New Zealand leading the list, followed by Singapore. Iceland retained its position as the most peaceful country globally, followed by Ireland in 2nd place, Austria in 3rd, New Zealand in 4th, and Singapore in 5th. Conversely, Yemen was identified as the least peaceful country worldwide, alongside Sudan, ranked 162nd, South Sudan, 161st, Afghanistan, 160th, and Ukraine, 159th. Now, Muslim pilgrims set off at dawn today to mark Arafah, the most important day of the Hajj pilgrimage. Now, worshippers could be seen walking along the streets of Arafat and climbing the Mount of Mercy at sunrise, where Prophet Muhammad delivered his final sermon 14 centuries ago. The Hajj, a once-in-a-lifetime duty for every able-bodied Muslim who can afford it, is considered the world's biggest religious gathering.
أول مرة أحج إن شاء الله، والحمد لله أن بلغنا ربنا عرفات يا رب، وبإذن الله يتقبل مننا في هذا اليوم العظيم يا رب، واجعلنا من المقبولين عنده يا رب، واجعلنا من المغفورين بإذن الله يا رب يا كريم. إن شاء الله أن يرجع بلادنا كما ولدتنا أمهاتنا، ويغفر لنا ويرحمنا يا رب، شعور لا يوصف يا رب، ونتمنى لكل مسلم يا رب بإذن الله ربنا يكرمه بحج وزيارة بيته الحرام يا رب، والوقوف على عرفات يا رب.
Pilgrims will stay until sunset in Arafat before moving to Muzdalifah plain, where they will gather pebbles to throw at stone columns symbolizing the devil. The ritual stoning marks the first day of Eid al-Adha, or the Feast of Sacrifice, which will be celebrated by Muslims across the globe on Sunday evening. Over in the Nusrat camp, ahead of Eid al-Adha, the market would usually be bustling with people and merchandise, and stalls would fill the streets inside the camp. But this year, following 9 months of war in Gaza, the devastated camp's market now only has a very few stalls, surrounded by destruction and mainly selling basic items of food. Eid al-Adha marks the climax of the annual Hajj pilgrimage, when Muslims slaughter cattle, often distributing meat to the poor. However, this year, residents of Gaza felt they were the sacrifice.
إيش ضل بعد 9 شهور حرب؟ يعني كل شيء تدمر، إيش ضل؟ أكثر من حوالي 40,000 شهيد. انصارات في يوم، يعني أقل من ساعة كان حوالي بين 1500 جريح بين شهيد وقتيل. مش عارف إيش بدنا نسوي إحنا. العيد هي ثاني عيد يخش علينا، يعني لا عيد فطر لا رمضان لا عيد أضحى، إن العالم كله متفرج واليهود بضحوا فينا إحنا.
According to the Palestinian Health Ministry, during the last Israeli strikes on the camp, 274 Palestinians were killed and 698 were injured. Now, Gazans do not feel the festive celebrations of the Eid this year in the devastated Strip, and the World Health Organization, or WHO, stated that many people in Gaza were facing catastrophic hunger and famine-like conditions. As for 12-year-old Jamil Abu Odeh, who lay in a hospital bed in Deir al-Balah with a badly injured leg, this did not feel like a Eid to him, missing the festivities and the food.
واجه الحرب واحد رحلنا من بيت حنون لدير البلح. من دير البلح قعدنا بالمدرسة وهينا تصوبنا، والعيد اللي فات بقى أحلى من هيك وبكي وأكلنا لحم وفرحنا، بس العيد هذا ما فرحناش وهينا متصوبين بالعيد. وكيف يعني هم يعني كيف بيحكوا عيد؟ مش عيد هذا عيد علينا، عيد بضحوا علينا.
More than 100 countries and organizations have gathered for a major conference in Switzerland dedicated to setting out a path towards peace between Ukraine and Russia on Saturday. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is aiming to use the meeting, which is being held at a resort near Lucerne, to drum up support for the 10-point peace plan he first outlined late in 2022. Among the world leaders who attended this summit, including the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris and the presidents or heads of the European Union, EU, South American, Middle East and Asian countries. Now, heads of state and governments from several European states, including France, Germany and the UK, are also joining, as is Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida were also there.
Cette réunion est une étape majeure, essentielle, mais c'est le début d'un processus, et c'est un début d'un processus qui vise à rassembler davantage encore la communauté internationale autour de cette détermination à défendre les droits humains et la Charte des Nations Unies.
Addressing the conference on Saturday, Zelensky said the proposal for ending the war would be submitted to Russia once it had been agreed by the other nations in attendance, and there would be then a second peace summit where they can fix the real end of the war. Now, the summit comes as G7 leaders gathering in Italy clinched a new deal for a $53.6 billion loan for Ukraine, scrutinized through the use of the windfall profits from the interest on Russian central bank assets frozen by the EU and other Western nations after the 2022 invasion of Ukraine. Now, the two-day peace conference discussed Kiev's proposed 10-point plan to end the war, along with three other themes: the nuclear threat, food security, and humanitarian needs in Ukraine. On a related note, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris pledged America's unwavering support for Ukraine and announced more than $1.5 billion in aid for the country's energy sector on Saturday. Now, Harris made the announcement at the Ukraine Peace Summit in Lucerne, Switzerland, where she met with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky. According to the Vice President's office, the $1.5 billion aid includes $500 million in new funding for energy assistance and the redirecting of $324 million in previously announced funds towards emergency energy infrastructure repairs and other needs in Ukraine. Now, former U.S. President Donald Trump ventured on Saturday where few Republican presidential candidates tread, the city of Detroit, attending a community forum as part of a push to peel black voters from President Joe Biden ahead of November's election. Now, at Detroit Church on the west side of the city, Trump sat on stage at a table flanked by a panel of members of the local community, including small business owners and activists. The event was moderated by the U.S. Representative Byron Donalds of Florida, a contender to be Trump's vice presidential pick. Trump focused on his core messages, blasting the Biden administration over high inflation, crime and illegal migration, which he said has harmed Black Americans in particular.
Look, the crime is most rampant right here and in African American communities, and more people see me and they say, sir, we want protection. We want police to protect us. We don't want to get robbed and mugged and beat up or killed because we want to walk across the street to buy a loaf of bread. They want it so badly. The fake news doesn't talk about it. But the black population wants law enforcement more than any other population. So I think it's an important thing to say.
Trump vowed to revitalize the local auto industry in Detroit by slapping tariffs on vehicles built in Mexico and elsewhere. Now, both Trump and Biden, a Democrat, have targeted Michigan as a must-win state where every vote may make a difference, and the Trump campaign argues an opportunity exists to win over black votes, particularly men who may be attracted to the former president's economic and border security policies.
Happy Father's Day to Papa. Hairunizam bin Atiman. We love you, Papa.
Hello, I like to wish Happy Father's Day to all father and Abah and Ayah.
Happy Father's Day, Ayah. Hasnan bin Katim, this is for you.
Happy Father's Day to my Papa, Muhammad Azwango bin Abdullah. I love you so much.
I love you, Abah. Happy Father's Day for my father-in-law, Muhammad bin Hassan.
I love you, Ayah. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you so much, Ananya.
Welcome back. Honduran government leaders have outlined a series of measures intended to crack down on gang crime, declaring a security emergency. Now, the headline policy was a plan to build a mega prison that can fit 20,000 inmates at a time. President Xiomara Castro said the new measures, including terrorist designations for gang members, are in response to public complaints about rising violence. The plan to build a 20,000 inmate emergency reclusion center in a sparsely populated area between the eastern departments of Olancha and Gracias a Dios will massively expand Honduras's current prison capacity. At present, the country has some 21,000 prison inmates spread across around 30 detention facilities. Honduras declared a state of emergency in December 2022, suspending parts of the constitution in its bid to control growing crime that authorities attributed to gangs. It has a homicide rate of almost 6 times the global average, with 34 people per 100,000 being killed in 2023. Now, flood and tornado watches continue across Florida as bands of torrential rainfall drench portions of the Sunshine State, creating hazardous conditions. Now, the city of Sarasota experienced a record-breaking downpour since Tuesday night, with over 10 centimeters of rain falling in just 1 hour. Some other parts of the state were similarly affected, with Miami Beach recording nearly 18 centimeters of rainfall in the past 24 hours. Hurricane season is just beginning, typically the most dangerous period for weather events on the Gulf Coast. On Wednesday, heavy rains in South Florida left roads flooded, shut down highways, caused airport delays and cancellations, and stranded many people in their vehicles. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency for several counties in South Florida. Forecasters predict another round of extreme weather stretching from Florida's west coast to the east coast, with the peak of hurricane season still ahead. Now, residents of a Chilean coastal spa resort live in fear of their homes collapsing after a sinkhole opened up at the foot of an apartment building after heavy rain battered the South American country. Now, in the Pacific Ocean facing Vina del Mar, 87 residents of the apartment building complex, Euro Marina 2, were evacuated after a sinkhole measuring 15 meters wide and 30 meters deep opened up on the 8th of June. The causes of the sinkhole are under investigation, with experts citing a number of different factors, including the collapse of an underground water collector following the heavy rain. But they have also highlighted the fact that the towers of the apartment complex were originally built upon a fragile dune system. The Chile was battered over the past week by a cold front associated with an atmospheric river storm, a vast airborne current of dense moisture carried aloft from the Pacific and dumped on land as heavy precipitation. According to the country's Disaster Prevention Service, over 11,000 people have suffered property damage, over 700 were sheltered, 2 injured and 1 killed. Now, beachgoers in Singapore's island resort Sentosa were surprised to find their favourite weekend getaways beaches in complete disarray on Saturday after an oil spill spread to its shores.
Sadly, actually, I came with my family over here. They're just seated over there. And actually, when we came here, we actually saw the beach quite close. And that's when we actually got to know that there's a leakage of oil. So they're cleaning the beach, and we were quite saddened. Because it's a very once in a while thing that we actually come to the beach to get fun and stuff. But it's alright, you know, the beach is still open. You can play volleyball, get into the pool and stuff. Still a family occasion.
According to a Sentosa Development Corporation official, Singapore's Marine Port Authority had already begun clean-up operations even as they continue to assess the situation.
Early this morning, our team was on the ground to assess the situation. And based on what we had seen, our utmost priority is to advise our guests not to enter the water because of the oil slick in the water there. So safety and of our guests and our cove residents were at the top of our minds.
Triumph over Croatia in Euro 2024. That and more in our sports segment. And kicking off our sports segment this afternoon, first half goals from Alvaro Morata, Fabian Ruiz and Dani Carvajal set Spain on course for a comprehensive 3-0 win over Croatia, giving the 2008 and 2012 champions the perfect start to their European Championship campaign. Morata broke the deadlock in the 29th minute as the Croatians lost the ball up front, and Fabian split the defence with a perfect pass for the Spanish captain to surge through and slot the ball past Dominik Livakovic. Fabian added the second himself 3 minutes later, and defender Carvajal added a third just before the break as Lamine Yamal, the youngest player ever to appear at the Euros, picked him out to score and effectively end the game as a contest. It was a chastening night for Croatia, the 2022 World Cup semi-finalists. They thought they had claimed a consolation when substitute Bruno Petkovic tapped in after his penalty was saved by Spain goalkeeper Unai Simon. But the goal was ruled out by VAR for encroachment by Ivan Perisic. And Croatia now face Albania in a key game for both sides in Hamburg on Wednesday. Now, in another match, Italy recovered from conceding the fastest goal in European Championship history to begin their title defence with a 2-1 win over Albania this morning. Albania went ahead after just 23 seconds against Italy in the Group B opener in Dortmund as Nedim Bajrami scored to the delight of their huge support. Bajrami's strike destroyed the previous record for the quickest goal at the Euros of 67 seconds by Dmitry Kirichenko for Russia against Greece in 2004. However, Italy kept their calm and equalised when Alessandro Bastoni headed in at the back post on 11 minutes before Nicolo Barella's glorious effort put them ahead just past the quarter-hour mark. Italy, whose lineup at kickoff featured only 5 players who started that final against England, now move on to a heavyweight showdown with Spain on Thursday in Gelsenkirchen. Meanwhile, Kylian Mbappe and France are on a mission as they begin their Euro 2024 campaign against Austria on Monday, having endured disappointment in recent editions of the Continental Championship. The Blues won the World Cup in Russia in 2018 when a teenage Mbappe announced himself on the global stage and only lost the 2022 final on penalties after an epic battle with Argentina in Doha. They also won the UEFA Nations League in 2021, but the European Championship is the one title that has evaded the French side since Didier Deschamps became coach in 2012. Now, runners-up as host in 2016 when they agonizingly lost the final in extra time to Portugal at the sweltering Stade de France, they have bitter memories of the last Euros 3 years ago. Deschamps' side went out of the delayed Euro 2020 in the last 16, squandering a 3-1 lead before losing on penalties to Switzerland. Mbappe missed the decisive kick, and the 25-year-old, who has just signed for Real Madrid, is now hoping to make amends by leading his country to glory in Germany. Let's take a look at tennis. Former US Open champion Bianca Andreescu progressed to her first final of the season on Saturday, seeing off Hungarian qualifier Dalma Galfi 6-4, 6-2 at the Rosmalen Grass Court Championships. Andreescu, playing in just her second tournament after 9 months out with a back injury, continued her impressive run in Scherto-Henbosch. The Canadian is hunting her first title since the Grand Slam win in New York 5 years ago. She will next face the winner between two-time defending champion Ekaterina Alexandrova and number 2 seed Lyudmila Samsonova from the other semi-final. Their match was suspended due to rain after each player won a set apiece, with play to resume today. Andreescu defeated four-time Grand Slam title winner Naomi Osaka 6-4, 3-6, 7-6 in Friday's quarterfinal to advance to the semi-final. It is just the second tournament the 23-year-old Andreescu has competed in since being sidelined for 9 months with a back injury. Now, since returning to action 3 weeks ago at the French Open, Andreescu has won 6 of 7 matches. Now, Sunday's final serves as a chance at winning her first title since 2019, when she won her lone Grand Slam at the US Open. And on to golf, Bryson DeChambeau shot a 3-under par 67 and moved into the lead on Saturday after 3 rounds of the US Open at Pinehurst, North Carolina. Patrick Cantlay, Northern Ireland's Rory McIlroy and France's Matthew Pavon are all 3 strokes behind. DeChambeau's lead grew to 4 strokes before a late double bogey threatened to derail his momentum. Sweden's Ludvig Aberg, who began the day with a 1-stroke lead, shot 73 and is tied with Japan's Hideki Matsuyama at 2 under. DeChambeau, who also shot 67 on Thursday, strung together 5 birdies, including both par 5 holes in a 10-hole stretch, and suddenly the Pinehurst number 2 course didn't seem so menacing, at least for one golfer. Now, that thought was dashed by the time he recorded a 6 on the 16th hole before responding with a birdie on the next hole. DeChambeau, who won the US Open in 2020, hasn't finished better than a tie for 20th place since then. McIlroy had bogeys on 2 of the final 4 holes. Pavon had a great start with birdies on 3 of the first 7 holes before a pair of backside bogeys. Now, Tony Finau and England's Tyrrell Hatton share 7th place at 1 under. Colourful and upbeat stories coming up in our Offbeat segment. On the 5th of June, Malaysia's Feruni Ceramish unveiled the Mandi Bunga collection at its headquarters, which was brought to fruition by Feruni's collaboration with Nala Designs, one of Malaysia's leading fashion houses, founded in 2009 by Lisette Shears, the Queen of Patterns. A well-known figure in the art scene, Shears is a Kuala Lumpur-based Dutch designer committed to preserving Malaysian heritage by translating uniquely designed patterns and motifs into several ranges of fashion and home goods. Now, working closely with the Studio Faruni team, the Mandi Bunga collection features a myriad of Malaysian fruit flowers such as the dragon fruit, rambutan, durian, mangosteen and starfruit, amongst many other florals on large format tiles, reflecting Shear's belief that flowering trees have a special meaning in terms of infusing beauty to the land. The ceramic company also teamed up with Valhalla Garage to suit up a Porsche 911 with various types of tiles as part of the Art and the Artist platform. The project, dubbed as the Art 911, Faruni created a solution that incorporated constant and gradual spread of tiles to cover the Porsche 911 while remaining aesthetically and mechanically true to the car's silhouette, making it one-of-a-kind creation. The two tiles were part of Faruni's large collection of 175 masterfully crafted tile designs put on display in the Discover New Art Forms event. Known by his nickname Dr. Perfume, this UAE-based scent expert says he can recreate any smell his customers desire. Yusuf Bai, who is originally from India, was inspired to get into the perfume business by his father's love for fragrances.
The people call me before that, everyone is called me Yusuf Bai and like Dr. Yusuf. If any, like medicine, about the perfumes, you want to open, recreative, whatever, in the operation, any perfume, I will do it. That's why everyone is calling me Dr. Perfumer.
He says that certain scents evoke many happy memories associated with his family, and this scent-inspired nostalgia is something he hopes to evoke for his customers. Now, one client, Muhammad Firas, walked into Bai's shop with soil from his homeland, wanting to create a scent inspired by this to evoke memories of home.
I wasn't expecting the same, I wasn't expecting that it will be like this similar. So, everything isn't perfect, but it's almost 95% the same. So it reminds me of my land. So whenever I smell it, so yeah.
When we get the result, always the customers, when they make the perfume, after make perfume, to spray his hand or somewhere. After that, smile is coming with the lips. That time, Alhamdulillah, we say we are success.
Bai says his dream is to expand his business and sell his fragrances in stores all over the world.
Selamat menyambut Hari Raya Aidil Adha setulus hati daripada kami di RTM.
And that's it for this afternoon. In our top story today, Malaysia ranked 10th in the world's most peaceful countries. Do join us again tonight at 8:30 p.m. on TV1 and saluran Berita RTM. Before we go, once again, we would like to extend our Happy Father's Day wish to all. And for those travelling for Hari Raya Aidil Adha, please drive safely. Till then, I'm Jessica Lee from the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Thank you for watching.